Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Anaya. Welcome to the Women's Eye podcast. This is where you'll meet fascinating women who are leaving their mark, making a difference, and changing lives. This episode is brought to you by CASCO Financial Group in Phoenix, Arizona. Catherine Scrivano is the president of CASCO Financial Group. She started her business to help people create the financial strength they need to achieve their dreams. She believes you don't have to be wealthy to be wise. And Catherine Scrivano is my guest today to talk about how and why you should practice retirement, even if you're still working. Catherine, welcome back. It's always great to see you.
It's wonderful to see you as well.
You know, this topic is for everyone, I think, whether you're still working, retiring, switching careers, or maybe planning to travel, whatever your intentions are, you believe we need to be financially prepared for the future. So when you say practice retirement, what does practice mean?
Well, we practice everything we want to be good at, anything that we want to be successful at. What is the recommendation? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. If we want a successful retirement, we talk to clients and help them work out the idea of practicing living on the amount of money that they expect to need in retirement and see what that translates to. It's very interesting and a very enlightening experience.
Oh, I'm sure. And one of the things you suggest to clients is that they practice living on the expected spending plan before they retire. So where do you actually start?
Well, for some people, especially those who have a relationship with a planner and have some specific goals in place, they have a dollar amount in mind. And that's what we suggest they set the monthly budget to be for a while. If you've got no specific spending plan in mind, I say just use some of the old boilerplate plans. A lot of ideas around roughly 2/3 of your pre-retirement expenses. But whatever number that you come up with, remember the good news is you're not committed. This is practice. We're just going to keep doing it until we get it right. So keeping the math very simple. Let's say that you're expecting right now that you live on $100,000 a year. You expect that in retirement, you'll live on 2/3 of that. Now that's got to cover everything. That's your taxes and your mortgage and your food and your travel, you name it. That's what you're paying for. Reduce that by 1/3 and see what life looks like if you're living on 2/3. If you were spending $100,000 now, that means $66,666 needs to carry you through in retirement.
Well, and if it's practice, it's a good opportunity to discover what changes you're actually able to make, or if maybe different changes need to be made as well, correct?
That exactly. And this is what taking it from theory to practice and actually doing it where the rubber meets the road. These are your chances to find out if these are things that really require very little sacrifice, or if there's things that really need to be negotiated, especially if you're retiring with a partner.
Tell me a little bit about some things that might factor into one's retirement experience, like contributing to a retirement plan or the cost of health care insurance.
Well, when you're thinking about the money that you spend right now during your working years versus during your retirement years, remember that in retirement, you're not going to be contributing to the retirement plan. You won't be buying disability insurance if that's something that you're paying for now. Your cost for health insurance will change once you enroll in Medicare. There's certain costs with working, transportation to and from work, clothing. Some people find that if they're paying for uniforms or dressing up to go to the office, that those expenses may go away. So just an awareness of the difference between our working expenses versus our retirement expenses. People tend to eat out during the day. Maybe they feel like they can't face that first morning meeting unless they drive through their local coffee vendor. They may not have those needs as they're starting their day more on their own terms. We actually know more than one couple who found that they only really needed one vehicle in retirement, and that can be a real significant expense reduction.
So you encourage people to consider these and other scenarios, challenge themselves to spend now as if they're already there. What do you suggest we do with that money that is saved during that trial period?
That is so important. We would like to see you simply open a savings account and put that money there. And there's two reasons for that. One is that it's going to enhance that experience of living on the reduced dollars. You're tucking those dollars aside because we really want you to practice for about 6 months. It needs to be a significant enough period of time that you can come out at the end of the experience and say that you've learned what you need to. So having that money set aside, putting in savings, may lead you to make some decisions about spending that you wouldn't during your working years. One of the things that we've often seen is people opting to repair rather than replace things that go wrong. That savings can be a source for those kinds of things. Sometimes we find that we can't let ourselves do the spontaneous and impulse buying that we did before. Those dollars in savings allow us those cushions so that we can go through this confidently. And if we find that we are having experiences that we just can't imagine living with throughout the long years of retirement, we've got that savings as a cushion.
Yes. And is this practice also a good way of determining how to fill those hours that, you won't be working full time anymore, which could eventually contribute to that spending plan?
That's huge. If we pull people who work, let's say Monday through Friday, you've got 40 hours a week that you're doing your work, you have time to and from work, you have your obligations with your family in the evening. You spend all your money on the weekends, don't you? And retirement is one long weekend. So being able to get control and anticipate how you'll spend your time is going to let you control how you spend your money. We don't want you to compensate for those hours by shopping or spending money to fill them. We want that to be thoughtful as well. We know a woman who actually took a part-time job in a shop that sells quilting supplies. And this gave her the opportunity to be with people who enjoy the same hobby that she does. It fulfilled her creative desire in a way that actually earned her a little bit of money rather than spending a lot of money shopping in that same store. I thought that was very creative.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes we find that this whole experience is so positive that people have the courage to retire earlier than they might have otherwise. Maybe they take a job like the woman I was just mentioning, where the paycheck is not the important part, it's the experience. So you've got some flexibility and feel empowered as a result of the practice.
Well, and I also appreciate that you like to remind folks that the idea of practicing financial retirement isn't limited to just retirement. Can you explain that a little more? I mean, what can that also lead to?
Well, practicing spending, let's think of it that way. A number of years ago, we built a home and it was going to be much larger, and we got pretty good about thinking about how much more it was going to cost. We're going to have a higher mortgage payment, we'll have higher utility bills. So during the time that it took to build the home, which was just a little bit over a year, we started practicing that budget and we put that money aside. I'll tell you, we were more than a little bit embarrassed to find it wasn't as hard as we expected it to be. Kind of implied that we were wasting some money along the way. But the happy ending in our story is that the money that we saved, we were able to buy some furniture and fill up some of that larger space. So that was our experience in practicing for future spending, and it was a very comfortable and positive experience for us.
So I think just to kind of button this up, I think what you're saying is that practice equals preparation. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And practice makes perfect, right? Most of the things that we spend our money on, if we were thoughtful about it and make sure that it's a tool that allows us to live the extraordinary life that we want to live, the best way to do it is to practice, 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 and it can be accomplished.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. Great examples too, so that you can make sure that we understand it can be accomplished. Always a pleasure chatting with you and gaining that financial wisdom from you. So thank you. You can learn more about Catherine Scrivano by going to our website, thewomenseye.com. I also want to let you know the Women's Eye has 2 books. The first is called 20 Women Changemakers. You can shop for it wherever you buy books and at changemakersbook.com. And our newest book is 20 Women Storytellers. It's out right now. You can find more about that at womenstorytellersbook.com. That's going to do it for this episode of the Women's Eye podcast. Catherine Scrivano, thank you so much, as always, for joining me. And thank you for joining me as well. I'm Catherine Anaya. Until next time, remember, it's the world as we see it.